First at 10, as the snow moves out, the winds move in. We'll talk about the concern for strong gusty winds coming up.
Kansas City coming together in the wake of a deadly shooting. We'll take you to tonight's vigil and bring you new details from officials about what happened. And ahead of Bridgeport's mayoral election do-over, the incumbent candidate finds himself more support from old opponents. Mayor Ganim just got a major endorsement. We'll have those details ahead.
Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And we begin tonight on the weather. After a quiet winter in terms of snow, Mother Nature is kicking it up a gear this February. Thanks for joining us here on the news at 10. I'm Brent Harden. A round of snow making its way across our state right now. Nothing in comparison really to the nor'easter earlier this week, but the concern is over slippery spots on the roads. We have a crew out tonight in the Fox 61 Storm Tracker to monitor those road conditions. They are currently in Manchester and making their way east on I-84. Snowfall has been scattered tonight, and we'll bring you live reports throughout the evening as we find more. For now, let's send things over to Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Rach, how much snow are we talking about?
We already got anywhere between a dusting up to an inch, and I'll show you some of those snowfall totals in just a little bit. But overall, it was kind of underwhelming. Most of the state seeing very little in the way of accumulation. It got started around 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and even though it looked like it snowed everywhere in the state, in some places the dry air just made that snow evaporate before reaching the ground. Where do we go from here? We have a few leftover flakes here on the 395 corridor all the way up in Putnam. And if we look to the west, you'll see a few additional light scattered snow showers, but we're pretty much done with the snow tonight. Glastonbury 1.5 inches, so did Sherman, and right around 1 inch of snow for Enfield and Staffordville. This is not representative of the entire state. This was the top totals I could find. A lot of areas just got a dusting or a coating. But now we want to shift gears and talk about this wind for tomorrow morning. A wind advisory has been posted for the entire northern half of the state, and we could see gusts up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's even true for the southern half of Connecticut as well. So that could cause some issues, maybe some isolated outages and some downed tree limbs. As we head through the coming hours, temperatures might actually climb as we head towards daybreak. But again, so will those winds. It's the worst in the morning. We'll see plenty of sunshine, and there could be some lingering slippery spots, even in areas that just got a little coating of snow. Sometimes they can be a bit sneaky. Highs in the afternoon in the upper 30s, and we might even get a little bit more snow tomorrow night. Again, not a lot, but just enough that it might whiten the ground in parts of this state. We'll talk about where coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A Norwalk police sergeant has been arrested for his role in a deadly car crash on I-84 last April. 48-year-old Shannon Sherry has been charged with misconduct with the motor vehicle and failure to drive in the proper lane. He was off duty on April 19th when state police say he veered to the right on I-84 East in Southington near exit 30 in a late attempt to take the exit. Troopers say he crashed into 24-year-old Elijah Valuer's pickup truck. Valuer died at the scene. Sherry is out on bond. State police say he has been cooperating with the investigation for the last 10 months. Norwalk police are starting an internal investigation now. New tonight in Kansas City, survivors and friends and residents joined together in prayer and grief tonight. They gathered for a candlelight vigil to remember the woman gunned down yesterday at the Super Bowl celebration and to pray for those wounded. Hospital officials told reporters that, like the rest of Kansas City, their staff is still reeling from the mass shooting.
In the aftermath of yesterday, we know that our community is struggling, our kids are struggling, as is our healthcare workforce.
Also new tonight, police have released one of the 3 teenagers detained since yesterday's mass shooting. Police say they determined that young person was not involved. They continue to hold the other 2, although as far as we know, neither has been charged with the crime. Earlier today, Police Chief Stacey Graves told reporters she has ruled out terrorism as the motive for that shooting.
This appeared to be a dispute between several people that ended in gunfire.
We treated 12 patients, 11 of which were children ranging in ages from 6 to 15. 9 of those children were treated with gunshot wounds, And I'd like to give you some good news today and update you that out of all of the children we have treated, we only have 3 left in the hospital, all of which who will recover from the injuries they had yesterday.
Now, there was a 23rd victim, Lisa Lopez Galvan, a popular DJ and a mother of 2, was killed. Her son is among those recovering from being shot. Some fans sprang into action when they spotted what they thought was one of the gunmen.
After they tackled the guy, I guess the gun fell out and it landed right at my feet. So I looked down and I just immediately thought that I needed to get it away. So I took it and put it over by that wall that was near me.
Now, while police recovered several guns tonight, it is not clear if that person tackled by fans is in fact among the people being detained by police. We are told tonight all of those who were wounded are going to be okay. On day 22 of the Michelletronus trial, jurors learned where divorce proceedings stood between Fotis and Jennifer Farber-Dulos right before she went missing. And at the end of the day, talk of a contempt hearing for Troconis for potentially displaying a sealed document on her computer during the trial. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc has the breakdown.
On May 25, 2019, the day after Jennifer Farber-Dulos went missing, attorney Michael Meehan got a phone call from her estranged husband, Fotis Dulos.
He stated to me, "Mike, have you heard the news?" I replied, "No." He then stated, "Jennifer is missing." I noticed the tone in his voice to not be down or somber, but to be more excited.
Meehan began working with Fotis and Jennifer 2 years prior as a guardian, representing the kids during their divorce. At that time, Fotis had goals involving his then-girlfriend, Michelletronus.
It was his goal to have everyone live in the house together, that being Ms. Dulos, along with the children, along with Ms. Troconis and her daughter as well.
But as time went on, in March of 2019, Fotis was only allowed to see his children under supervision, and Troconis wasn't allowed to be there.
What would Michelletronus and her daughter have to do?
Not be present.
Something Meehan says Fotis was worried about.
He was concerned that the continued litigation would have an adverse impact on his relationship with Ms. Troconis.
What did she sound like on the phone?
She was down as well. She was frustrated. She had expressed disappointment and really just a lack of understanding as to why the court had not allowed access between her and the children.
Well, first they asked for our video.
Earlier in the day, jurors heard from Fotis's Farmington neighbor, Garrison Hudkins. He also spoke with Fotis shortly after Jennifer went missing.
He asked me how long we retained our security video and to make sure it didn't get deleted because he needed to prove that he was there on Friday.
Hudkins checked his surveillance cameras, seeing this 5 days after Jennifer went missing, showing the red Toyota Tacoma with a rental car trailing behind. He handed it over to police.
Based upon the fact of what we had learned from the media at that point in time and the visits to North End, I had 2 cars leaving in tandem, which was not consistent with normal vehicle movement patterns.
The defense pointing this out during cross-examination.
But you wouldn't consider Mr. Dulos a friend, would you?
I would not.
In fact, when you talked to the police, you told them that he was condescending towards women.
He was very condescending to my wife.
You found that a little offensive, I take it?
I did.
Outside of court Thursday, Troconis' mom speaking with reporters.
It has been a tragedy for us, and I'm sure it's a tragedy for the Farber family too. But we want this to end and to my daughter to be okay again and to regain our life.
At the end of the day, the state raising concerns about Troconis potentially displaying sealed divorce documents on her computer for the public to see during the course of the trial. If that's the case, the judge says that's in violation of a court order and could possibly result in a contempt hearing. He says they'll take that up first thing tomorrow morning. We're in Stamford. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. Ahead of another Bridgeport election later this month, Mayor Joe Ganim has secured a key endorsement from a former rival in the mayoral race. Lamont Daniels announced on Facebook this afternoon that he is supporting the incumbent mayor. Daniels is a registered Democrat who came in 3rd place in the first general election back in November. The second general election was mandated by a judge after video showed misconduct surrounding absentee ballots. It will take place on the 27th. Well, last night we told you about a new robocall campaign that utilizes AI to recreate the voices of victims of gun violence. Tonight we're learning that the family of Ethan Song has given the green light to let their son's voice be used in that campaign. Take a listen to the message now being sent to lawmakers.
In 2018, when I was 15 years old, I was killed by an unsecured gun at my friend's house. Kids like me are dying every day. It's time to act. Time to pass laws that protect kids from unsecured guns and help end gun violence.
The campaign was started by the group March for Our Lives and Change the Ref. They created a website that calls the offices of state and federal lawmakers and then plays the AI-generated messages. Those behind the campaign say they will continue, adding more stories indefinitely. We have much more.